Welcome back to our podcast, Life Under the Moon. I am your host, Sammy B, and today we are celebrating the full moon in Capricorn, and it is also called the buck moon. Let's jump right into what that means. So the buck moon is about earthy vibes, pushing forward, growing antlers, growing yourself, growing new habits and traditions, and bettering yourself. So today I want to talk to you about work wellness. And this is an excellent time to talk about work wellness because Capricorn represents planning and organizing. It's about responsibility. It's about realistic growth. And it's about your career. So works really well to talk about this topic. It's something I've wanted to discuss for a very long time. If you listen to our podcast, Winter Wellness, that was when we discussed ways to improve your life during the cold winter months. And I kind of like this whole series of wellness and how we can improve all these little aspects of our life. So if you like it, give this a like. I would love to see some positive feedback. I love you guys so much. And I can't wait to talk a little bit more about how we can make our work a lot healthier for ourselves. So this full moon is also representing personal growth, aka the buck moon, the antlers, things like that, and the blossoming of our plans and intentions. And so the example I want to use, the biggest example for work wellness today, isn't what you think it is. It's actually very simple, but it's funny because sometimes the most simplest things are the hardest. It is actually to simply be yourself. I watch from a distance of the world, and they're all stepping in each other's footprints, cookie cutter buildings. Everybody's got to act the same way, speak the same way, talk the same way. Everybody has this, it's like we're robots following this pattern. And if you step outside the box, you're ridiculed for it. And that's just not right. That's definitely not how I want to live my life. So I have always been incredibly authentic and real with myself. And it has definitely pushed certain, few employers away, people away, maybe family away, friends away. It doesn't matter to me who doesn't like who I am, because that's on them. That's their, I don't want to say it's their problem. It's not a problem. It's absolutely fine to not like somebody. Like, your energy levels might not resonate, and that's totally okay. And it might go so much deeper than just what meets the eye. It might go so subconscious that you have no idea why you don't like a certain person. But I've always stayed true and authentic to myself, and I just know that I will attract the right people, and I'm never going to pretend I'm someone I'm not, because that will attract the wrong people for me. And I've always had the right people in my life, and even challenging people are here to teach us lessons. But for the most part, I've always welcomed in myself so that I can just be authentic and show up for the world, for you guys, with who I truly am. And it's not exhausting to do that. It's actually very easy to be who you are, because you're not faking anything. You're not lying to yourself. You're not lying to others. And so this full moon, we want to change that shift of pretending to be someone we're not into just surrendering into who we are. And ask yourself, who told you that you can't be who you are? Who told you that you can't be yourself? Honestly, I can answer that question personally. Everyone said. The school division. Schools say you have to do this, you have to do that. You can't color outside the lines. Apples can't be purple. You have to do things a certain way. And it's creating this society where we're all led to believe that we have to be the same. And if we are ourselves, then we're labeled as weird people, and we're not normal, and people won't like us because we are stepping outside of the box. But I think a lot of people frown on that because they're too afraid to step outside the box. What if I told you that there is no box at all? When they say, think outside the box. Now, what if we shift that and say, well, actually, there is no box. You are free to do whatever you want. Be whoever you want to be. You are perfect just the way you are. And your thoughts and your imagination and your life actions and your life is perfect just the way you are. And we love you for that. And if you have decided to make changes with yourself that other people don't agree with, and if the specific person that I'm talking about, one of my favorite Sammy B family members, is listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you have family and friends that don't agree with things that you've done to your body and for yourself, because that's what you truly desired and wanted, who cares? Who cares what they think? We don't need the approval of anybody else but yourself. And if you're happy, that's all that matters. And I'm so proud of you for taking that leap, that jump into being somebody that maybe was incredibly scary to do for yourself, but you did it. You did it for you. And that is something to look up to, no matter who in your life disagrees. This is about having authority over yourself. Work wellness is not necessarily about other people and your coworkers and your boss and the people that you work with and the people you work for, your customers or your clients or anything. This is about you gaining authority over who you are, because you are your own boss no matter what position you are in. You have control and you have the say to who you want to be in your position, in your career, in your life. So tap into your inner power, because you do have it. We all have it. So when you have that inner feeling that you need to express yourself and be who you are, and you're afraid that might push some people away or clients away, let them walk. I'm going to tell you a little bit of an example that happened to me this morning as I was recording another podcast for you guys. I got a phone call from a client, and she was looking for a design for a 500 square foot house. And I'm like, wow, that's small. Like, I don't usually get requests like that. And she's like, yeah, we like to spend our time outside. We don't want to be spending our life cleaning this massive home. Like, we want to be outside, enjoying nature. And I could have just left it like that, but I decided to be personal. I wouldn't even say personal over professional. I feel like you still have to have some line of profession. However, in the industry that I work, like the architecture construction industry, I do feel like it is very frowned upon to have that like personal touch. You are kind of more expected to be just professional, big, fancy, expensive suit, and, you know, a blazer and a skirt for a woman. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying that there are these like very high expectations that we need to be the most professional version of ourselves at all times throughout work. But this is where I am separate and come apart from that whole industry. I know that I am successful because I am who I am. It's my personality. It's my positive energy. It's who I am. It's how I am. And I know that that indeed is what got me to where I am today. So why would I want to hide that when I finally made it to my dream job? I wouldn't. So I decided to be real with her, personal with her, and share something personal. And sometimes I have in the back of my mind, oh, if I tell this to this client, they might think, ooh, I can't take her serious. But what I said was, I know exactly what you mean. I personally built my own tiny house on wheels, and it's only 180 square feet because I don't need a lot to be happy. And I understand the importance, like you, that nature is more important than cleaning a big, massive home to me. And she completely opened up and she started telling me about how scared she was to call all these architecture firms and how even just talking on the phone scares her. But because I opened up to her, she felt so comfortable, so confident in speaking her truth to me. And by the time we got off the phone, like she even said, I'm so happy. I'm walking around in circles in my kitchen doing little hops. I'm so happy that this conversation went so well. And it made me happy leaving that conversation. I felt like I genuinely liked her as a person, even though we were only talking for maybe 8 to 10 minutes. And it wouldn't have gone that way if I never opened up and been who I am and shared a little bit of personal information. I'm not saying you have to share personal information. I'm just saying to be yourself. So in that moment, when someone was talking to me about how important it is to have a small home and be out in nature, that resonates with me. So I felt inclined to share that that is something that I understand that she wants, and maybe I am the perfect fit for her. And that is an example of it could have gone two ways. She could have said, okay, I want someone who really knows what they're doing. And if you live in a tiny house on wheels, you're weird. Like, she even brought it up. She's like, people think people like us are really weird. And I said, yeah, I agree. And I don't care. And it was just so nice to connect. But it could have gone two ways. She could have said, you're weird. Normal people don't do that. I'm going to go with an architecture firm that has a big fancy office in a big fancy city who wears expensive clothing because they know what they're doing more than you. Or it could have gone the other way. And she could have said, wow, you sound like the perfect fit. That is exactly what I want. It doesn't sound like you're wasting your time, energy, or money on things that you don't need. It sounds like you genuinely care about what you do. And it sounds like you have already what I want, and maybe you have extra insights that other people won't. Maybe you won't overcomplicate this design because you understand what it takes, and maybe you have something to offer for my design because you already live in such a small space. I get it. It can go two ways. Sometimes I do feel like I don't want to share that information with certain people, and sometimes I do. And sometimes I share it very much knowing that there is a complete risk. Obviously, I shared it because I knew that there was a very high chance that it would sway toward her bonding with what I had to say. But there has been clients in the past where I was so nervous to tell them, but I felt like I just wanted to share that piece of information about myself. And it really could have gone the other way, and they could have dismissed me as not important and weird and wanted somebody more, I guess, who represents the industry. But this is an example of being who you are and being yourself. And I think that it is important to have a balance of all of it. I think it is important to have people in, I'm just using this industry as an example, but like in the architecture industry where you do have like those very straight architects who are intimidating to talk to and you don't want to say the wrong thing. And I think that it is also important to have those medium ones where you can joke with them, but they also take it very seriously. And I also think it's important to have people in the industry who are just like you, who can just come down to earth, come off their big fancy chair and give you a big hug or a beautiful handshake and smile at you and level with you and talk about personal things with you. I mean, I'm not saying like personal. I'm just saying like that they're not afraid to open up and just say like, I have a tiny house too, or like anything. And I'm sure you can kind of roll with me with what I'm trying to say. But I felt like after that conversation, she actually even said, she's like, wow, you just made my entire morning. You made my entire day. Just this conversation, this phone call made my day. Why? Because I took the time to open up with her and I took the time to be human with her. And I understand where she's coming from, and I resonated with her as well. And I said, I'm also afraid to pick up the phone and call people that I don't want to call because it's scary. It is scary. And I love being able to resonate with people because I do think and believe and know that society makes us think that we can't be real, we can't be ourselves, and everybody has to be prim and proper and perfect, and if otherwise, you're out of the club. And I don't want to see a world like that. I don't want to see life where it's just so by the book and the freedom isn't there and life isn't there and realism isn't there. So this is a perfect time and a perfect full moon, a buck moon, all about change, all about growth, all about becoming something new, to visualize your goals, to plan and be responsible with your career, but be realistic. Because Capricorn is also about realistic growth. So how can we be realistic when it comes to career and work wellness? To just be ourselves. How realistic is that? How easy is it? To just make small changes, small goals, to just slowly start to become who you genuinely are at work. And it will push certain people away and it will bring certain people closer. And I love that. And I think we have this stupid expectation that everyone has to like us. Not everyone's going to like us. Not everybody likes pizza. And I think that's freaking crazy. And that's my point. I think it's so beautiful that some people do not like pizza and some people love it. And you're not wrong for liking it and you're not wrong for hating it. And it's the same with humans. Some people won't like you, and that might not have anything to do with you. It has everything to do with them. It could be how they grew up. It might be trauma. It might be their subconscious. It might be the energy. Maybe your energy, without either of you knowing, is simply repelling you from each other. It's just like, you two don't get along. That's all there is to it. And I think how beautiful it would be if we started to show more of our true selves in the world. And it's like an easy task to be who you are. You're being authentic over yourself and you're just you, because nobody tells you you can't be you. They do, but you don't have to listen. And that's how I want to end this podcast, to just be yourself, because I took a risk of opening up and I made someone's day. And that may have ripple affect her entire life. And there might be something that I said in that conversation that resonates with her for her entire life. And she might say something to someone, and they might say something to someone. And now look at that beautiful ripple effect in the world. And we are making the world a better place by being who we are. Because if you are proud of who you are, don't hide it. Just be who you are. And maybe I'm going to go to the extreme that if you be who you are and you got fired from your job, what if that's a good thing? What if you were never meant to be at that job in the first place? And now that you're allowing your authentic self to shine, you are now making room for things that are meant to be in your life. Because now maybe that you're not working in a job that you hate, you now have that opportunity to go find something that you love, because now you're authentic. And then you go down the street and you buy some flowers and you get offered a job by someone that you run into and you're like, that's what I've always wanted to do. Wow, if I was working right now, I wouldn't be out here buying flowers and I wouldn't have bumped into you and I wouldn't have had this job opportunity of my dreams. I'm so happy that I decided to be who I am. It's a beautiful world we live in. And I want to share all of this with you because I do believe that we have the power to change ourselves and the planet. And when we change ourselves, we already are changing the planet. So we need to come together and we should manifest each other to have the most beautiful life. So leave your wish in the comments. If you have something that you want the collective to really try to bring to life to you, maybe there is, for example, a home that you want to build. Why don't we manifest for your home build to go so smoothly, so easy, not a lot of mistakes, and just to have a really good time. And our energy can go in each stud, each screw and nail and glue into that home, all of our energy to build it, to create this beautiful vibe that now this person's home will radiate for the entire life that it is here. That is my intention with this podcast, to make this world a better place. And we all have the power to do it. And I love you all so much. So let's go manifest our dreams with our life under the moon.